Hello everyone and welcome to this fourth session of the seventh week of the Angular development course. In this session, we'll be continuing with our development of our e-commerce application which is called Shop App, and currently we are going to develop the navigation bar or the title bar of this page. Okay. So before we proceed, we just go back to the Angular Material website, and as I said, we'll be using a few components from Angular Material in order to help you understand how it works. So we have a component called as toolbar. If you just come to the Angular Material component page, at the end of the screen, there will be something called a toolbar. So we will be doing something like this. So wherein you would have your application like logo over here, and you will have a few of the links on the right hand side. And whenever the application is kind of shrinking, we will show a side nav like this. So it will just open a side navigation bar like this one. So, and we'll be making basically doing a mix of both side nav and toolbar. So just to let you guys understand again, what I mean to say is, for your normal application like your web application, we just need the toolbar. And whenever the application is kind of minimized on a small screen or on a mobile, so what we will do is we will compress all this link inside this burger menu, and when we click on that, we will show a side nav bar over here with link, all that link over here. So when the user clicks on it, it will open that particular link for us. Okay. So now let's get started. And as I said before, like whenever you are using any of the Angular material module or component, you have to first go to the API module and see what is the module which you need to import. So this is the module which we need to import in order to use this toolbar. So what I'll do is I'll go to appmodule.ts. I'll paste it over here, and you'll see that it is showing me a red line, which means that the Angular material is not kind of installed in our project. So by default, Angular material is not installed in your project. So what you need to do is just install it first. So how to install it is, you have to just do like kill your server before, go to your terminal and kill your server. And here you just give the command ng space add space @angular / material. Okay. So what this will do is it will add the latest Angular version which is compatible with your project, and it will do the setup for you. So just wait for a few seconds for this in order for this to get completed. So it will say confirm with you what is the package that's going to load. So if you say yes, it will go ahead and install the packages and get the project up and running for you. And one more thing which is important for you in the real-time world is if you want to just look at what are the libraries or packages which you have installed in your application, just come down to this package.json over here. Here you will see like two sections, dependencies and dev dependencies. So just go to this dependencies, and these are the kind of the core libraries or modules which are loaded by your application. So a few of them are default of Angular application like animation, common, compiler, core, forms. These are some of platform browsers, and all these things are common. And if we want some specific items like material and those kind of things, those are we need to dynamically import it. So similarly, like even for dev dependencies, these are just the libraries or the packages which are required by your application to just run in your local, but these are not required to run your application actually in the browser. So what I mean by that is, all the packages or libraries that you have mentioned as part of dev dependencies, these are only required for you to start your local Angular server and perform any testing, linting, and all those kind of activities. But when your application gets deployed to the web server, like when you actually deploy your application, only the libraries which are part of this are usually kind of used by your application to start your application. Okay. So now since we have done ng add, you'll see that Angular material is now added to our application and it is up and running. So once you install Angular application, it will ask you what is the pre-built theme that you require. So remember I said when we were discussing about Angular material that you get a set of pre-built themes which you can use. So what I'll do is I'll go with the custom, like the default indigo pink. So just for the sake of this demo, we'll go with that. And after that, it'll ask you whether you want to set up a global typography styles. I'll just say yes. And it'll ask, do you want browser animations? Say yes. And that's it. So typography is nothing but the fonts, Angular material uses its own fonts. So it'll just install that for you. And now you'll see that it's all updated. And once you come to the app modules, you'll see over here that this browser animation module got updated as part of the Angular module. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and import this Angular material now. So I have imported this over here, and whenever you import any module on the top, you also need to import it over here as well. So that is step number one, which is done. So step number 2 is, as I said earlier, you can just go through a few of the examples over here and you can kind of see how they have written the code. So say for example, we decided that we are going with something of this sort, right? Where we have the logo on the left and a few links on the right, and this burger menu will only show for the mobile devices. Okay. So I'll just take this as a template for now. But what we will do is we'll actually recreate this code again from the scratch for our application. So don't worry much. This is pretty much a what you say a template kind of code. So if you just see the application over here, so you'll see that there is nothing but kind of label and there are a few buttons and burger menus, right? So how they have done that is, so if you take for example this example, like where they have just my application. So here all they have done is they declare a mat toolbar, and inside that mat toolbar they have given one span and just given the label. The span just means it's an inline element. And after that you have whenever you want to declare any burger menu, you kind of declare this mat icon and you give this keyword of menu. So when you put that, it will show you this kind of burger menu item. Okay. And just for your information, what they have done over here is they have created all this four kind of toolbar one below the other. That's why you see so many mat toolbar. Ideally in one application, you just have one toolbar. Okay. So for the second scenario, what they have done is to show this icon over here, they have used this mat icon. Here they are not kind of opening any other thing on clicking this. So that's why you're not seeing any on click event or any of that sort. It's just a dummy icon. And below that they have declared the rest of the things. And one more thing to observe over here is wherever you see some icons or images in your toolbar, for all that they have used the standard material icon and they have used the corresponding icons over here like favorite, share and all that thing. So we also will be doing a similar setup. So before that, I'll go back to the code. I'll come to the app component.html, and over here I will just clear out the shop app, and here we are going to write the code for our Angular toolbar. Okay. So first I'll just quickly write the code and then we will see it together on what it is doing. Okay. So the first we declare a div container, and inside this we'll be writing our logic for the toolbar and rest of the stuff. So yeah, so what we have done so far is we have created a container called mat toolbar. First I'll go what I've done with the style. We have just given it a height of 100 view height, and this is like similar to pixel. You can give something like view height. If you guys are not comfortable with the styling, I highly recommend that you go back to W3 schools or any of those websites and read a bit about the units of CSS, like pixel, what is pixel, what is rem, what is VH and all that thing. Okay, so VH 100 VH basically means the entire viewport, or so 100 VH basically means that whatever is the height of this browser, right? So if it's here, this is this much, and if you reduce it and take it this much, so 100 VH means all the whatever is visible part of the browser, we are taking that div to be of that height. Okay. And overflow hidden means if the overflow is set to hidden, you won't see this scroll bar by default whenever you are reducing the size of your browser as well. And why we are doing it, I will come to it later. So for now I'm just writing the style over here directly, but slowly we'll be writing refactoring this code again, and to show you how we can make it better. Okay. After that, as I said, you'll have one mat toolbar kind of wrapper which will be showing that entire toolbar, and color I've given their primary. So primary basically means it will be of that indigo color. After that I'm showing a mat toolbar row. So mat toolbar row is nothing but, so if you come over here, so whenever you have to show kind of this one particular line, right? So for that you have to wrap it inside a mat toolbar row. Okay. So don't worry, you don't need to really by heart it. As I said, whenever you need to use any of the material toolbar, you just need to just check the corresponding code, and inside that you can do whatever changes you want, right? After that, as I said, for these mobile screen, we will be showing the burger menu. A burger menu is nothing but this three dot over here, right? So these three lines over here. So this is called a burger menu, where clicking on that will open the side nav for you. So since on clicking we have to trigger something, I just given the click event. We haven't yet defined the functions and other thing. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this for now for the sake of the demo. And after that, what I've done is I've added this mat icon menu, and this menu is the keyword we have to add, because whatever word you write inside this, that particular icon will be shown by your mat icon. But here, if you see, for mat icon, it is showing me a red line. And why it is showing the red line is again the same thing. So as I said earlier, whenever you are using any of the icons, right? So you have to import the corresponding module. So for icon, what you do is on the left hand side, you come to the icon link over here and you click on this API and you import this mat icon to the module in which you are working right now. Okay. And similarly over here, you have to import it. So once you do that, now you'll see that this red line is gone. And this menu means that I'm going to show that 3 dot, and in case say instead of that 3 dot I have to change to some other menu, like some other icon, I can use something like home, or like, these are the keywords which you have to use to show the particular icon. And in case you are wondering like what are the icons and what are the name, all you need to do is just Google for Google material icon library, and over here you will see the first link which says material icons guide Google font. And over here, like, you'll see all this list of things, like, you'll see a link over here which says Google icon library, right? Click that, and here you will get all the icons and what is the name of it. Say for example, I need this checkbox, right? So I click on that. Over here it will tell me what name to use. So don't worry about the span, because it is part of the Google font, so it is showing span, but you are only concerned about what is the name I have to use. So in my case, if I use just done between the mat icon, I'll be getting this checkbox. Similarly, if I need this light bulb over here, I need to use the keyword light bulb. And similarly, if I need the star, I need to use the word star hyphen like underscore rate. So this is where, like, you can get the list of all the icons that you require in your applications, and you can use it from here. So normally what happens in your project is you don't really need to, like, search the icons and all. Usually the UX designer who creates the wireframe for you will give you the icons as well as a SVG file. So all you need to do is just put that file in your project and import it. But in case if they say that, okay, recommend that you go with a material icon, then this is the best way to do it. Okay. We'll also see how we can import, like, copy a image, like put a local image and show it in the application. But for now, we'll use material icon. Okay. So in our case, what we are basically using is the menu. So this is what basically we're using. This is a 4 line, but yeah, in our case, we are going to use a 3 line. So if you search for menu, so but you guys can, like, free time, go back and just play around with a few icons over here and check in the application. Okay. So for now, I'm just using menu, and I've just closed and I opened the button, so I've closed it. And why I've used the button is it's just like a container to show our menu. And with this, we have kind of shown the menu right now. Okay. So what I'll do right now is, with this changes, I will just kind of start the application once. So just to see, like, whatever basic things we have done, is it working or not? And always remember that, as I told you, any new feature that you use in Angular Material, like it could be icon, it could be toolbar, it could be like, flex, nav list, whatever it may be, ensure that, in whichever module that component is, you are importing the corresponding module over here. And how to check that is, if you go to that particular component, say for example, if I'm using list, so I go to this API over here, I have to ensure that I import this module in my app module, add it in the imports, and then only it will be available to me. Okay. So now the application is loaded, and you can see that, this button is coming over here, and I get a nice little bar over here. So this is the beauty of using Angular Material. So, like, you don't really need to write a bunch of code, and all this functionality will be available to you out of box on just writing a few lines of HTML. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and complete this code, and I will come back and explain to you guys what are the other things that's happening. And before we proceed, I also want you to, like, let you guys know a few things. There is a library called in Angular called as Flex. So what it does is, it is similar to the CSS Flex that we have. So wherein what we do is, if you want to kind of arrange your components dynamically based on the screen layout and all, so there is a module available in Angular also, Material also, to do it, which is called as Flex Layout. Okay. So when you get some time, just read about this Flex Layout module in Angular. Okay. So this is also an official Angular package. So basically what they do is, you can arrange your items accordingly based on the screen size, and we will be also using this module as well. So before we start using it, as I said, we have to install it, and to install it, what we need to do is, we give ng space add. And always remember that whenever you have to add a new package or a new library to your Angular application, existing Angular application, You can do it either using Angular ng add command or using npm install command. Okay. So now we are doing with ng add command. So ng at the rate angular slash flex hyphen layout. Okay. So just give enter, and just to ensure that it's working, just go to package.json. Here you'll see currently there is no flex layout added, but once this is completed, you'll see after the forms, this Angular flex layout will be added over here. So it will first it'll ask for confirmation that this will be added. So you just give yes. Yeah. So this error is fine. Like it just tells you a warning, it does not support schematics, but that is fine. What is schematics you'll see at the end of this course, but for now it has been installed. And if you come to package.json, you'll see that flex layout has been added, and this is the version that is being installed right now. Okay. So this is done. So the next part that we have to do is now we have to go ahead and complete the code for getting our navigation bar or the toolbar ready. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just go back to the app component.html and complete the code. First, we'll write the code and we'll come back to understand what we are doing. Okay. So this is I have added the button right now. So after this button, let's now add the label of our application, which is shop app. So this is the name of our application, like Amazon, Flipkart. We are just giving the name of shop app. You're free to use whatever you want. And after that, now let's add the rest of the links that we require. Okay. So I'll just create a div container, give the first link as A is nothing but a standard hyperlink. And whenever user clicks on this home, I want them to be routed to the home page. So I just give slash, then I give on click event. And why we require the on click event, probably I'll show you later. So for now, we can just ignore this part. Okay, so I will just quickly get the code typed for you, and so it will be easy for us to discuss what we are doing. Okay, so we'll just quickly complete the code, and we will get into the specifics of it just to save some time. Okay, so I'll explain you guys what is happening and what I have done. So just first write the code. And don't worry, you have already seen most of those things earlier. So just you guys need to understand why we are doing this right here. That's it. Okay. basically we're just adding the links right now. Okay, we have written the kind of the high level code for the web version. We haven't yet touched the mobile version, but let's see how it's working. Okay, so before we go any further, I'll just start the server again. Just give ng server and double hyphen o. Repeat. So to just start the server, I'll just give ng serve double hyphen o. And if our application is already open, we'll just close it so that it opens a fresh instance for us. So this has opened us, and you see that in your application now you see that this menu is added, the label is added, and the link is can be seen over here, right? So let's try to understand what we have done with the code right now. So essentially what we have done is we have kind of created a container div. So this div is nothing but it's going to host our entire navigation bar. And inside that, as I said, in order to have your toolbar or navigation bar, you need to first declare this mat toolbar. You're giving the color as primary. And because that is where your indigo color, don't worry about this. It's like all these links are too jammed up. We are yet to fix it. But I'm just explaining the code for now. So mat toolbar means that it is a container for showing you that indigo blue light toolbar. Mat toolbar row means this is the first row or the first line of elements which you'll be showing. So this inside this toolbar, a row is nothing but this entire line. Okay. So if you want, you can also have multiple rows within the toolbar, but generally we prefer only one row. Okay. So the first thing that we show over here is the menu, the kind of the burger icon over here, which kind of tells when you click on it, it shows you all these links that you see over here in the mobile view. Okay. So we will make it toggle whenever it only comes on the mobile for now, but we'll just have it. The next is the label that you see. After that, we have given something called as menu spacer, and if you go the class called menu spacer, and if you come to the CSS, we are just given it as flex11 auto. So why we require that is, see, actually we don't have a lot of links over here, so you just have the application name over here and the links on the right. So in between we need to maintain a free space. So just to have that space, we have given it as flex11 auto. So what it does is basically it will just fit your whatever element is there on your left hand side to the leftmost corner, and whatever links is there on the rightmost corner, and the rest of the space it will leave it free. Okay. And after that we have something called as div which says fx show true and fx side LTMD. What this means is, I'll show it to you in action. So if I kind of want to minimize my screen like this and now maximize my screen, and I want to ensure that whenever my application is I'm reducing the screen, I want to just remove all this link and just bring all that link to this menu drop down over here when I click on this. In order for us to enable that, that is why we use this. For now it won't work because you have to write the rest of the code, but this is what it means. So fx show means it will show by default, like if you give it will show by default, and fx hide means after that you can give for which condition. If you give like LT to MD, it means that for medium size screens it will, for low and medium size screens it will just hide it. Okay, whatever you are writing inside this. And this is a standard Angular code for providing you links. So here is nothing but your normal hyperlink tag. Router link, as I said, if the user is clicking on this particular link, it will take the user to this particular route. Click is nothing but if say you want to do some extra activities when the user clicks on this link, you can use this click event handler over here, which will kind of perform some additional activities for you. So if you go to this click handler over here, as of now we are doing sidename close. What is that? I will come to you later. But just understand that when you click on that link, it will also perform some side effects. Router link active, where this is useful is, if you see over here closely on the home, it is now kind of highlighted. Okay. And if I click on contact us or feedback or any of that thing, it is not getting highlighted because as of now our route is only on the home page. So that is why this is highlighted. So the use of that is, whenever we give router link active, what it does is, if whichever route link we have clicked, it will highlight that particular route. So if you see in the normal websites, whichever is the active link, it will kind of highlight or show it to you in bold, right? To do that, we use this router link active. And what this basically does is, if you say for example you clicked on now home page, okay, so it will assign this a class called active, so which here you can customize it like what you want to do with that. So in my active class, if I say that, like, I just need to have it a border, so I can just give the border solid. So that's why you're seeing a border around this active link. Okay. So after that, this is what we have done so far. So we have just created this 4 links. And one more thing is, in this home bar, you see I've given an extra option called router link active options exact true. So why I've just given it for home is because if I don't give this, right, even if I click on other routing like say feedback, contact us or cart, home will always be kind of enabled because any route starts with first the slash, right? So if you don't give this, it will by default assume that whatever you click, even the home is active. So it will add 2 classes, one for your home and like for other as well. So just to avoid that, we give this router link active option and exact true. So only when the route is slash, it will give go to home. For other cases, it will kind of like enable that particular link. And here in the router link, we just need to give the corresponding router URL. So for feedback, it will be feedback, and for cart, it will be cart. We haven't still configured the routes for it over here, so which we'll be doing later. But for now, let's get the menu icon working. And similarly, what we'll do is, yeah, and one more thing. If you see over here, what I've done for now is I have kind of given an inline style over here, right? Which says height is 100 and overflow header. Always in your real-time project, avoid writing style like this. Always ensure that you're using a class and that class is getting defined in your CSS files. Okay. So what I'll do is just to show you that this is a bad practice, I have kind of written this. But what I'll do now is I'll just refactor it. So I'll remove the style over here. I'll give it a class name. I'll give the name as maybe toolbar container. Okay. And in my SCSS app component.scss, I'll just define the same name. And I will paste the CSS over here. So always ensure that in one line you just give one CSS, and yeah. And also in your CSS, always have this best practice of like you give the class name serially. So whichever class name comes first, define that at the top and go sequentially. So that is also one of the good practice. Okay. So with that being said, now we have kind of written the CSS. And also I want to also show you how can we write global styles. So what I'll do is I'll go to styles.scss. Okay. So here you'll see that already some few styles have been written for us by Angular CLI itself. So what it is doing over here is it has shown like HTML body, the height is 100%, and for body we are given all this margin, and by default the font family is Roboto and this. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll just go to inspect element over here, and we'll go to the network tab, and we will kind of just refresh the application. So you'll see that over here, right? Angular has kind of downloaded a bunch of file for us. So a few of the file is nothing but it will be the font file. If you see over here, the type is font. So this is what it does. So Angular Material will download the font for you and it will show you. And similarly, you see the home module is also loaded right now because we are currently in the home module. Okay. So that was it regarding this thing. So now let's go ahead and complete this code. Okay, so what we have done right now is we have kind of written the code. So let's just walk through it and understand what we have done. Before we walk through the code, I'll just show you what is done. So as I said earlier, we have this navigation bar over here where on the left hand side we show the label, right hand side we have the links, and on minimizing it, like reducing the size of the screen, you see that after a particular set of width, the nav or the links over here disappears, and this menu bar on the right comes up over here, and clicking on that, and you'll see that after a particular set of time, minimizing this shows the menu over here, and clicking that brings all that link over here, and you also have a close bar over here. So clicking on this close will kind of close that nav, and you see that since home is currently active, we are currently kind of showing the home as an enabled thing, and the rest of the things are not kind of highlighted, right? So let's try to understand how we have done this. So the first thing is, if you come to your app component.html, you will see that here we have kind of like written the basic HTML code over here. As I said, avoid writing inline styles. So this I've just purposefully written to show you that this is not the way you should write it, but rather what you should do is like as we did earlier. So just define classes inside your SCSS file and use that class over here. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and replace it. Okay. So this is nothing, this div is nothing but this entire tool container div for you. Okay. After that, we have this mat toolbar. As I said, whenever you need a mat toolbar, you just kind of container which gives you that entire Indigo container over here. Inside that you have this mat toolbar row. So as I said, for every toolbar you can have multiple rows. So in our case we just have one row, so we are using mat toolbar row once. This button over here, mat icon button, click. So we have written a bunch of code over here, right? So let's try to understand what it's doing. So this button, we are giving it a directive of name mat icon button. So here we are telling to Angular that this button is nothing but it will behave like a mat icon and it's of type button. And on clicking this button, we are toggling the side nav. Okay. And what is the side nav is nothing but a template variable. So if you just scroll down over here to line number 23, you will see that we have created a variable called side nav on the mat side nav. And over here, what you are telling us side nav dot toggle. So what it basically does is side nav is nothing but if you just reduce the size of your browser and click on this link, you see this container over here, right? So this is nothing but called your side nav. And this side nav dot toggle, what it means is when I click on that, just toggle this side nav for me. And how it works is, if you remember from the content projection and container, the component class, we have studied that, in your HTML, you can define template variable, which you can use it across your other parts of your HTML. So here what we have done is we have created a reference of this mat side nav. And over here, we are using that reference and triggering the toggle method inside this mat side nav. So this is given by Angular itself. So whenever this is triggered, what it does is it will either, if it's open, it will close. If it is closed, it will open. Okay. And similarly, if you also come to app component.ts, we have written this side nav close. For here, we have used use nav like view child. I will tell where it is used. Okay. After that, we have kind of defined the label of the application, which is shop app. After that, what we have done is we have kind of defined an empty class called menu spacer. Why I have done that is, if you remember from the previous discussion, we said that, your label is on the left and the links on the right, but in the center there are a lot of free space. So just to ensure that the link is staying on the right and the label is staying on the left, we have just kind of defined, if you just inspect that, right? So I'll show you it in action. If you just kind of inspect this particular span, you'll see that, this menu space is over here. So if I remove that, right, so what happens is everything will get kind of added in one line. So just to avoid that, we have given this menu spacer, and the CSS we have used is just flex. So just to ensure that, it gets evenly spaced out, where the content on the right is on the right and the left is on right, and in center we have just open space. After that, we have something called a div. This div is nothing but a container for all your links over here. So in our case, we are just using 4 links. You can have as much as you want, and it's not required that you only need text. You can give it an icon or whatever you want, right? And over here, what we have done is we have two attributes, right? Or two directors. One is called fx show true and one is fx hide ltmd. So what it means is, fx show true means by default this div will be shown. So this fx is nothing but a directive which is coming because we have installed this flex layout module, right? So this flex layout module is providing us this directive called fx show, okay, and fx hide. So basically, wherever you have fx show true, it means that, you will show that particular container by default. And whenever you give this fx hide less than ltmd, what it means is hide this particular container if the screen size is less than medium. Okay, so medium density. So what that means is, so if this is my long device or my full large screen, if I kind of just reduce my screen over this particular threshold, you see that, after this particular point, so this is the point till the screen is considered as medium. So after this is considered as a low screen, low resolution screen. So for low resolution screen, this div will get automatically hidden. And for whenever the screen is coming to medium size and large size, this will be shown always. So that is what is happening by low this fx hide ltmd. And in case if I want to just hide it for smaller screens, I can just do sd. And over here now you see that, only when it is it will be available throughout, because this condition means just hide it if it is less than small screen, but there's nothing like smaller than small screen. So that is why now it is visible throughout, right? And if I just do it as less than large screen, so anything, it's lg. So if I do lg, so you see that, for anything lesser than large screen size from medium onwards, this kind of disappears, right? So this is lg. And similarly, if I want to, in our case, we want to reduce it after the medium size. So medium is generally where you use your tablet in your landscape position. So we just kind of consider that as, till that point, as the desktop version. And below that, we consider everything as mobile version. Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll just revert it back. So now it is back to normal. So till your medium size, this link comes, and once it is small, it disappears. Okay. And here this is the code for adding your routers, like your links and this is the code for adding the links and the routers. So A is nothing but a hyperlink tag. Router link, as I said, when you click on that, the Angular will directly route your application to the whatever link, like the route you give over here. Click is nothing but it's only a event. We are just handling a event over here. So whenever user clicks on this particular anchor lag, we are triggering this click handler function. So what is this click handler function doing is, if we come to app component.ts, we have defined this. So basically what we have done is we are taking a view child. Okay. So what we are doing is, in our HTML, we have defined something called as side nav, right? So if you just come over here, so basically what we are doing in this view child side nav is, we are basically taking, like asking a view child to take a reference of this mat side nav over here, and that we are giving it a variable name of side nav, which is of the type mat side nav. Okay. So this mat side nav is nothing but your side nav component, which I showed you earlier in the Angular website, right? You go to material.angular.io and come to components, come to side nav. So this is what I meant. So this is what we are basically using as side nav. So if you click on this, yeah. So basically what we are doing is, we are just taking a reference of this side nav in our component, and whenever the user clicks on any of these links over here, right, it is closing the side nav. So where it is useful is, so in my mobile application, right, so let's try to like disable this and see what happens. Okay, I have disabled the side nav close. So I'm in a mobile screen right now. So I've just reduced the browser size, and if I click on this link and I click on any of this link, you will see that, though I click on that link, the side nav is not closing after I click on that, right? So just to ensure that this works, like even if I click on any of this link, it is closing the side nav. I need to enable this. So once I enable this, and after that, if I again try it, you'll see that so basically now if you see, right, if I just enable it back, and if I just try to click on any of this link, you'll see that it auto closes after I click on that link, right? So that is because what we have basically done over here is, this side nav is nothing but it refers to this side nav which we have created, like this template reference variable over here. We have again given it the name of side nav, this time n is on capital because of camel casing, and it is of the type, and you will see it is given exclamation colon, as if you remember from the earlier discussions, that why we give this exclamation colon is just to tell TypeScript that by default, if it is undefined or empty, so don't, if this side nav is default like empty in the DOM on the loading, it will throw an error. If you don't give this exclamation, right, it will throw you error that this may be like initialized, it is not initialized and not assigned in the constructor. So just to avoid that, we give this exclamation, so which means that even if initially it is not initialized, or later when the application loads fully, it will be of the type mat side nav. Okay. And this by default provides you a certain methods. One of that is close or open. You can also similarly do a open as well. So if I just kind of remove this close and I just do open, right, and now if I kind of click on any of this, so you'll see that in my desktop now this mat side nav is opening. That is because this gives me a bunch of methods. So in our case, what we are doing is, only on the mobile website, like on the mobile site, if I'm clicking on any of this link, I want it to be automatically closed. And also if the user wants to close it by himself or herself, we are giving one close option at the top. So if they decide that they just want to see the link but they don't want to click on anything, they can just click on this and it will close it as well. Okay. And the next thing is, here for the close, we are doing the same thing. Either you can do click handler or you can directly use side nav.toggle. Anything is fine. And it's not necessary that you have to write click handler every time. You can directly do side nav.toggle as well. So just for your understanding, I have done it in the both the way, so you understand it, right? And if you see for side nav, basically we have just repeated the same code, whatever we have written here for the link. So basically what it does over here is, in the side nav, we have just defined the same link again. Okay. So whatever links is shown in the desktop container, the same link we are showing over here. The code is exactly the same. So a few of you might have this question, why are we repeating the same HTML again? You said if the code is getting repeated, we can also define it as a component. Yes. So this is one of the opportunity where you can define this set of link as one component. You can create one component in your, as part of your your app component, like your app module itself. In your app module, you can just have one more component which can be called like maybe nav link or links or something like that. In that, you just define this for link, and instead of having all these links defined over here, you can just simply call that particular component. So just say, for example, if the name of that component is say app link, I can just do like this. I can just copy paste the same component over here and over here as well. So instead of writing this much big code, I can just call it like this and it will work. For now, I have not defined it. That's why it is throwing error, but I believe you got an idea of what we are doing. So this is how you kind of avoid writing repeated or too much of redundant code in your application. Okay. So with that being said, we have kind of created the basic template of the navigation bar and other things. So in the next session, we will be going ahead, refining it a bit more, and then doing the API call and showing the products and so on. Okay. So see you guys in the next session. And for now, thank you. Bye.